Aren't we lucky? Water flows from high up in the Cascades all the way down to the Sound. Small actions make a big difference. So pick up after your pets to keep bacteria out of local streams. Because Puget Sound starts here, and here, and here, and here.
I'm Thelma, and I had kidney disease for years and didn't know it.
I'm Dr. Vega. Adults with type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure can unknowingly have kidney disease, since symptoms don't usually present until later stages.
If you're at a higher risk like me, it's important to advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid to talk to your doctor. It takes two to help detect and manage kidney disease.
Partner with your doctor and ask about complete kidney disease screening, including the urine test, UACR.
Work with your doctor to get a full picture of your kidney health.
Visit testyourkidneys.com for information.
Okay, I'd like to, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for showing up. And I'd like to call this meeting to order for January 14th, this meeting of the Pierce County Council. Time is 3 p.m. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Krueger? Here. Councilmember Denson? Here. Councilmember Herrera?
Here.
Councilmember Hitchin?
Here.
Councilmember Ayala?
Here.
Councilmember Morrell?
Here.
You have 6 members present.
6 members present and a quorum. Next item will be Pledge of Allegiance, moment of silence, and land acknowledgement. Today's moment of silence is dedicated to those who have been impacted by the California wildfires. Our heartfelt condolences to the communities affected, as well as the individuals and families who've been impacted. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag led by Council Member Ayala, followed by a moment of silence, which will be dedicated to those individuals, and then Council Member Ayala will lead the land acknowledgement. So please start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you, Chair. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Coast Salish tribes. Coast Salish people have lived on and stewarded the land since time immemorial and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step toward true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of the Indigenous people of this land.
Thank you, Councilmember. Okay, we'll move to Section 4, approval of the agenda. Are there any objections to approving today's agenda? Seeing none, the agenda is approved. On today's council agenda, there'll be several opportunities for the public to comment. On the consent agenda, you may provide comment on any final action item. On today's agenda, there is 5 sets of minutes for approval and a motion appointing Councilmember Rosie Ayala to serve on the Joint Municipal Action Committee. So during Section 8 of the agenda, we will take public comment on any final action on resolutions. And finally, under Community Forum, there'll be an opportunity to address the council on any topic that is not for final action on today's agenda. For information on the rules for public participation, please review the bottom page on today's agenda. So we now have a consent agenda before us. Does any member wish to pull any item off the consent agenda? Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move F2 to Section 11 for other business.
Okay. Item F2 has been moved to Section 11 under other business. Are there any other items that any member wants to move off consent? Not seeing any. Do I hear a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda for today, moving F2 to section 11. So before we take action, is there anyone who wants to make a public comment on any of the actionable items, the minutes, and whether you want to comment about the City of Puyallup budget? Not seeing any, we'll close public comment, bring it back. The motion on the floor is on the amended consent agenda, moving item F2 to section 11. Will the...
Do Zoom just in case?
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir.
We'll move to Zoom to see if anyone wants to make comment out there.
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to make comment on any final action items, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And there are no hands, Chair.
Okay, we will then close public comment in Zoom. Okay, will the clerk please call the roll on the consent as amended?
Councilmember Denson. Aye. Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayala.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Morel.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 6 ayes and 0 nays.
Okay, 6 ayes, 0 nays. So the consent agenda is approved. That will move us. There is no ordinances, no resolutions underneath this. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, no messages from the executive, other county elected officials. So we have before us proclamations. So the first proclamation of the Pierce County Council is honoring the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King for his contributions to the ideals of equality and justice throughout the world and Pierce County. I would like to invite our recipients to the podium as Councilmember Herrera reads the proclamation into the record. And I have Lyle Quizim with the Tacoma Black Collective, Cornelius and Sharon Weinsberry, community leaders, Janice Lee, and Robert Watson of the National Association of Black Veterans. Okay, so I'll let Councilmember Herrera read the proclamation, and then we'll take comments. So, Councilmember Herrera.
Mike. Thank you, Chair. Whereas Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dedicated his life to the pursuit of justice, equality, and unity, inspiring generations with his unyielding commitment to nonviolence and his dream of a world where people are judged by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. And whereas in the 62 years since Dr. King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech, our community reflects upon the progress made toward his vision, and I quote, "To the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at a table of brotherhood and further resolve to create a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character," unquote. And whereas Dr. King's leadership in the civil rights movement achieved monumental progress in the fight against racial discrimination, including the passage of the landmark legislation such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which continue to serve as a key legislative foundations for equality in our nation. And whereas Dr. King's legacy reminds us of the power of collective action and the civic engagement, encouraging all individuals to stand together in the spirit of love, understanding, and hope to create a brighter, more inclusive future. And whereas in the spirit of Dr. King's legacy, the Pierce County Council adopted ordinance number 2023-2, which added the publication of the countywide equity index as a requirement for a financial department, along with a requirement to provide an equity note for all proposed legislation that is submitted to the County Council. And whereas the county proudly honors the life and legacy of Dr. King and recognizes the importance of continuing his mission by promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion in all aspects of society. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 14th day of January 2025 by the Pierce County Council that we honor the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for his contributions to the ideals of equality and justice. And we encourage all community members to participate in the many celebrations throughout the community, as lists of events can be found at piercecountywa.gov-council, including Tacoma's annual MLK birthday celebration on January 20th at the Tacoma Convention Center. Signed, the Pierce County Council.
Thank you, Councilmember Herrera. Let's give a round of applause. Just start us off, Lyle.
First of all, Mr. Chair, thank you for the invitation. Council Member Herrera, thank you so much for the reading of the proclamation. There's an illustrious group of people here, and so my comments will be very short. I am here with two of this illustrious group of people. Ellen Smith, who is part of the leadership of the Black Collective, and Reverend Redeemer, who is the president of the NAACP. He also happens to be the youngest NAACP chapter president in the nation. Oh. And, and I'm going to ask Mr. Redeemer to talk for us, and then we'll turn the mic over to the rest of our friends. Mr. Redeemer, Reverend Redeemer.
Mr. Chair, Council, let me just say what a privilege it is to stand before you and to receive this proclamation, and how proud I am to be a part of a county that embraces the heart and the work of Dr. King. Like was stated in the proclamation, Dr. King gave his life, literally gave his life, committed his life for justice and civil rights and peace. And even though we are 50 plus years after his death, we've come a long ways, but we still have a lot of work to do. And this group of people that are behind us, they are doing the work in this county and in our city and in our state. And I just say I look forward. I'm on day 14 of being president of the NAACP, and I already feel the weight. But I encourage all of you to anticipate a phone call from me, because I look forward to being able to work beside you to embrace and continue the work that we have to do here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll say something. On behalf of the BCC Community Development Services, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to receive this proclamation in the work of Martin Luther King. We would not be here today if it wasn't for his integrity, his courage, his consistency, moving the organizations forward, moving the Black community forward to be able to be able to receive housing and to be able to be accepted. We know that even now that all the work that Martin Luther King has done, it's being challenged. Facebook just said today that they're rolling back DEI. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, but we're up for that challenge. Martin Luther King has set the roadmap for us, and that we are to follow. And the time is now. To continue change, to continue this work, that we can't do it by ourselves, that we have to work together. We see in California how Mexico is coming to help the fires, over Africa, Canada. That is the type of work that is going to make change of all of us working together regardless of our ethnicity. So thank you again so much. And I'm so glad to see Lyle and Evie and everybody here, that we're family. And so thank you so much.
Yes, I'd just like to say on behalf of the Tacoma Black Collective that we so welcome and appreciate this proclamation on behalf of Dr. Martin Luther King. And we know and we feel within our heart that if we have an issue, that we can come to you and you will be open to hear what we have to say. And on behalf of the council, our chapter, I just want to say thank you, Nat.
Cornelia Swainsbury, I'd like to just thank the council for the acknowledgement of this proclamation. It's moments like this that we have the opportunity to embrace one another, to get to break bread, so to speak, and get to experience one another so that when the time comes to join our forces, we're not strangers. So if we were strangers that never met before. And we're happy to be in this place at this time because the world around us is changing at a rapid rate. And if we're going to be a part of that change, we have to know who we're working with. And so we're thankful for this opportunity to embrace this moment. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. And
My name is...
Just for the record, state your name if you could.
I was going to do that. My name is Reverend Robert Watson. I am the commander for the National Association for Black Veterans, one of the 2 black organizations that are within Pierce County. I have been invited by Councilman Paul Herrera and his staff, and we end up seeing each other at all the different veteran VLC, et cetera, that we go to. And I think I may see you again on the 25th down at down in Olympia. But I want to say that it's the veteran that is the one standing at the point of despair to ensure that all of these families and these people that are behind me that are properly represented and taken care for, that all of us that lay down our blood for the right to be able to stand up as men and women, just like Martin Luther King did. Yes, times are changing, but we have to have more people that have the mind to change with the times, not just go by the wayside and let things happen. We have to have men and women who stand up for what is right, and let's not go along with everything just because it fits me for right now. But in the end, I will say that make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that has made us and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. For the Lord is good and his mercy is everlasting. Amen? Amen. Amen. To all generations. All generations. Amen.
Also, I want to acknowledge that my mother, who has just turned 90, is here with us, and she's one of the advisors on our board.
She's mine.
Okay, she has to come forward.
Okay.
She has to say something. So please introduce yourself.
My name is Addie Bell Beeler Davis, and I am honored to be here today to represent Martin Luther King Jr. I have experienced many, many, many things in life. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, and I went through the 1937 flood, and I went through the war, and my uncles went to war. They took them out of high school and inducted them into the Army. And my grandmother had the honor to receive my uncle's diploma at graduation in the absence of him. And I am the mother of 13 children who are awesome children. And I have one that turns 65 tomorrow.
Call you out.
So I thank you for pulling me forward. And I didn't know ahead of time that I was speaking. Otherwise, I would have probably had a subject to speak on. But I thank those that are being represented here, and we're just a part of God's universe. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else want to come forward? Wow.
No, I think that's
it. That's it?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Man, that's a short church service here. But anyway, thank you for the comments. Yeah, what we're going to do is we'll take council comments now, and then we'll take a picture. Any comments by council members? Councilmember Denson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank all of you for being here today, and I want to thank all of you for all the work that you do in the community. Your service to our community, your service to our people, your service to our country, Reverend. Thank you for that, and for what you said about standing up for what is right. We appreciate your efforts. That is also our job to do. And so we really appreciate the partnership that we have with each of you and with your organizations. And we hope, Reverend Redeemer, that we will hear from you, as I know we hear from the Black Collective and the other groups, the NAACP as well. We want to hear more, right? We want to sit down. This is great, where we get to hear from you and we get to represent and appreciate and do a proclamation, but what's better is sitting around a table and talking about what needs to be done and what we can do, because we want to make a difference. We want to be part of the positive change. We want to stand up for what's right, and we want to help you in all of your efforts as well. So I just want to thank you for all you do, and you're so appreciated.
Thank you for those comments. Councilmember Hitchen.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and hoping that I will see many of you on Martin Luther King Day on the 20th at the Tacoma event. That's always such a phenomenal event. The music alone is worth going for nothing else. There's one quote in this document that to me really resonates as a seated council member, where it says, "Whereas Dr. King's legacy reminds us of the power of collective action and civic engagement, encouraging all individuals to stand together in the spirit of love, understanding, and hope to create a brighter and more inclusive future." And when I think about our role and the partnerships that we have with the many organizations that really are the voice for those that sometimes aren't heard, for those that have barriers to accessing government, we depend on your organizations to make sure that we know what is going on, that we can make sure that people are able to stand up, and those that can't stand up, we help them. We help them stand with us, beside us, and bring their voice to the table. And that, to me, is one of the reasons it's so important that we continue to recognize Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. year after year, and remember his legacy and his words and his call to action, because while his actions supported and helped the Black community across our country make huge strides, the work is not done. And we have more to do. And so I just appreciate you being here today and the work that you do every day. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. And it's an honor to read the proclamation today for something that's really, really important. I've talked about it in the years past. As this council always thought it's really important to bring it up. There's so many other things to have proclamations on, but this is a very important one. I remember the years when we just had President's Day, and there was no Martin Luther King Day. You know, again, I think you mentioned it's been over 50 years since Martin Luther King's been gone, but I talked about it before, that we continually need to talk about it, of what happened. Martin Luther King, what he did in those days wasn't just for the African American community. It expanded to all different communities. The Native American community here in Washington State area, Billy Frank, had support from the African American community for some of the Indian issues that they were dealing with, fishing rights. And the spirit of Martin Luther King kind of came into Billy Frank, and he talked about talking with the state peacefully, because they had every reason to be angry, and with that warrior spirit fight back physically and totally just not work with anybody. But that spirit of collaboration, working together, walking down together, arm in arm together, will get things done. I really think it's important. We could have forgotten the works that he's done, but we're still talking about it today, and it's really important. You coming here today is a testament to all that. I think I called some of you at the last second, and you showed up, and I really appreciate that. It's always been good to work with you, Mr. Watson, on veteran issues and other things. So thanks for representing. Thanks for everybody being here. And all right, thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Are there any other council member comments? Not seeing. Oh, okay, we got a last minute here. Council member Ayala.
Thank you so much, Chair. I will keep my comments short. There's very little that I could add on to what our council members have already mentioned. I do want to say this is an invitation. Though partnership is important and partnership will get us far, I know that in the future it's not always perfect. So I look forward to going through challenging times together and to have accountability take place, especially for us as an elected body. And my commitment, and I'm sure others would echo, is to continue the work forward with love, with respect, with dignity, and just make every day better than the last day. Thank you.
Good. Okay, I'll close with the comments, my comments. Appreciate the comments of my colleagues, and it's always an honor to be able to have this, but in reality, this is just a piece of paper. What we measure the effects of advancing the ideals of equity and inclusion is in our actions and how we move forward in this community, hand in hand, arm in arm, locked together. So I appreciate your engagement. Continue to engage us. Sometimes we lose sight of things because of the business that we have. And so anytime I get a call from Lyle, I know it's an important call. And we've had a lot of frank discussions. I've learned a lot. And I appreciate the Black Collective's involvement in the Pierce County Business Accelerator Program, trying to invest in the community, invest in entrepreneurs, especially knowing that we have such a diversity in our county. So thank you for those ideas. Thank you for that partnership. We'll continue to move forward to that and pray to God that success is granted to those individuals who step out on faith. And if I ever need to clear a room, I know who to call.
Oh, yeah.
So with that, thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the legacy that you leave behind. And at this point, I think I would love to have a picture with everyone. So if everyone comes forward and go ahead, however you want to arrange it.
So let's get 4 people who will receive the proclamation up here. So I'm thinking
Watson, Reverend Watson.
You want?
You can all stand.
Hey, girlfriend. How are you? Hey, Jenny.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Representing
Dave, let's stand here.
Okay, we got everyone
move this way? Even?
I can see everyone's face. All right. A few photos here. Should we get it right? 1, 2, 3. All right. I'm going to hear a few shutter clicks and we'll do that. All right. Thank you.
Okay, we do that. I don't know.
So if you don't hang around, you can take the call.
Okay, invite you up to your meeting. I've only been to one. No, I know I live out rural Pierce.
That's all right, it's just down the street.
Yeah, she's at the 50. Yes, sir. 7, 8, great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'd love to sit around the kitchen table and hear the stories.
And I'll make sure you get that book. So
Okay.
you'll be able to attest to the stories that I tell.
Okay. God bless you.
Thank you for speaking. You did a beautiful job.
Okay.
I think you're a professional. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm going to read your book too. We'll share it.
Thank you again.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful daughter.
Okay, moving to our second proclamation. Proclamation of the Pierce County Council and Executive designating January 2025 as the Whole Child Month in Pierce County, Washington. And so with that, I would like to invite Corey Storsar, or that one, and Laura Allen to the podium as Councilmember Ayala reads the proclamation into the record. So, Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you, Chair. It is an honor to read the proclamation of the Pierce County Council and Executive designating January 2025 as Whole Child Month in Pierce County, Washington. Whereas every child has the right to attend schools, play and learn in parks, and live in communities that are safe, inclusive, anti-racist, welcoming, respectful, and free from all forms of abuse, hazing, violence, and neglect. And whereas organizations and community leaders make every effort to accommodate children's interests and to participate and to help them play with peers from diverse backgrounds and promote the values of sportsmanship, of respect for competitors, officials, and the fans. And whereas each child deserves to be challenged through academics, athletics, arts, and activities, experience a comprehensive education throughout the community that promotes critical thinking and creativity, and be prepared for higher education, post-secondary training, and meaningful employment in our global economy and lifelong success. And whereas every child has the right to be supported in being compassionate and kind by educators, coaches, and community partners who are qualified, caring adults who engage in personalized learning opportunities and support whole child development as critical thinkers that contribute to our global and natural world. And whereas every child has the right to learn about and participate and practice a healthy lifestyle, an environment that is physically and emotionally safe, be empowered to advocate for the social, physical, and mental wellness of themselves and others, access resources for a healthy well-being, and be hopeful about the future. And whereas in 2023, the State of Play Tacoma-Pierce County report published that only 19% of our youth participate in 60 minutes of daily physical activity as recommended by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which motivated leaders across the county to invest and mobilize programs for youth and has become an area of focus for many Pierce County school districts. And whereas every child has the right to opportunities to discover their passion, be curious, love learning, be actively engaged in, and connect to schools and the broader community, students have the right to participate in activities they consider fun and which foster the development of friendship and social bonds. And whereas Pierce County, in collaboration with nonprofits, school districts, park districts, and businesses, have created CYC, Child and Youth Center communities, with the goal of making Pierce County the best place to grow up. And whereas every child has the right to a community that actively supports the whole child by dedicating resources and investments which empowers children to thrive, now therefore be it proclaimed on this 14th day of January 2025 by the Pierce County Council and Executive that we hereby designate January 2025 as Whole Child Month in Pierce County, Washington. Community members with children and those without are encouraged to find ways to help youth through volunteering, mentoring, and supporting organizations that improve the lives of children in Pierce County, Washington.
Thank you. Let's give some applause. Thank you, Councilmember Ayala. And you two decide who's going to go first.
The boss.
I'm absolutely not the boss. My name is Laura Allen. I'm Director of Whole Child for Tacoma Public Schools. I don't know if you know this, but about a little over a decade ago, we were on the cover of USA Today, labeled a dropout factory. About half of our kids were not graduating. Fast forward, this is the reason why we created the Whole Child for Tacoma Public Schools, and then so excited that it's growing into Pierce County, that it's this big, hairy, audacious dream that every single child in our county is healthy, and they're safe, and they're challenged, and they're engaged, and they're supported. And what does the future look like for our county when every child grows up knowing that whether they're in our schools or whether they're participating in after-school activities or whether they're in their neighborhoods or at home with their families, that they are protected, and that us, the village, that we're going to care for them. And that 50% dropout rate, now we have a record high 91.7 on time, a little higher for those who need a little longer, but it's working.
Yeah, solid. I should have went first. But I'll just say thank you to you all for proclaiming January as Whole Child Month. This is a collective effort, and I think we have to recognize that everybody has a role to play in supporting every kid in Pierce County. I'll just note that educating our young people goes beyond academics. It's about meeting their social, emotional, and physical needs so that they can thrive in school and in life. This proclamation reinforces the collective responsibility of everybody in this room, but everybody in the city and in the county to prioritize the well-being of every child. So it's important that I thank you all for your partnership, because it's important that our elected bodies are in alignment on certain things, because I know it won't ever be on all things. But the reality is our youngest citizens of this city deserve our utmost support. 100%. So if we all recognize that we have a role to play, I think our kids will be better off for it. So thank you all for recognizing January as Whole Child Month. We accept this proclamation on behalf of Tacoma Schools. Thanks.
Thank you. Really appreciate Corey and Laura coming forward. You're getting quite the experience this week in speaking right here. So with that, are there any comments? You can comment to that later, Corey. Are there any council members who have comments? Councilmember Hitchin?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you both for being here and for the really important work you're doing in Tacoma. And as we kind of spread the message around whole child across the county, one of the things that CYC, that was mentored in here, the Child and Youth Centered Communities, is doing is really creating a way that we can message around the importance and the role that everyone in our county can play in the life of a child, whether you have children or not, whether your children are grown and you're an empty nester, or you're a young person on that cusp of, hey, maybe I could be a mentor. We have 2 in the audience today that are here for their civics class from Rogers High School. I'm not going to make them come up and speak. I promised I wouldn't, but they are here just to observe. And that's the kind of thing that as adults we can do. We can provide opportunities and spaces and places for youth to engage with adults that care about them. And it really does take a community, because so many people are very, very busy. Parents are very busy. Kids get very busy. To have a variety of people with different histories, different experiences, different life histories really helps the whole child. And that's why I really love the way you're approaching this. And you can see the success with your graduation rates. You can see the success when you look at some of the different types of schools that you are opening. I'm super excited. The Maritime program, you have some very big fans on the council. So, and we'll just continue to find ways that we can continue this work together to help make Pierce County a great place to grow up. So thank you for your efforts. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those comments. Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you, Chair. I have to selfishly take a moment because I began my career in youth development, and so this is a very special moment for me. And I really appreciate how there has been how we operationalize caring for children and youth, regardless of one's proximity to children and youth. Everything from the child care spaces, whether it's advocacy, which I know you all do a lot of, or whether it is providing an opportunity for someone to learn about your career or your job, because I know in the industry there are differences there. And really it is shaping new leadership and growing new leadership. And I know that our time in leadership will end. And if we can steward our young people to really take over and continue the good work that's happening, that would be ideal. So the Whole Child really is doing a lot of that. And I want to say thank you for all the work that you do there.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other comments by any council members? I would just like to say thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do. So with that, I'll keep it simple, I'll keep it straight, and we'll invite you up for a picture. So thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up here.
Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for long. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
What year was it that you had 50%?
Carhartts.
Oh, gosh.
Should have got it, shouldn't I?
Yeah, you should. You need to wear that all the time.
No,
50 to 91.
Okay, God.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
That's amazing.
I'll get on this side. You
course.
guys get in the middle.
Just keep pushing me off the stage.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. I'm going to hear a few shutter clicks and then we'll be done. Awesome. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
What I do? Oh,
I do.
how's it going?
All really well. Good to see you. Great job as always.
Okay. We are now down to Section 8, resolutions. And I will look to Councilmember Hitchin for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move to continue R 2024-266 to the council meeting of January 21, 2025.
It's been moved and seconded that we would continue Resolution R 2024-266 to the January 21st meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay, we're now down to item number 2, and I will look to Councilmember Hitchens for a motion.
Turned off. Thank you, Chair. I would like to move that we continue R 2024-267 to the council meeting of January 21st, 2025.
Second.
Okay, it is properly moved and seconded that we would continue resolution number R 2024-267 to the council meeting of January 21st, 2025. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay, so that brings us to item number 3, which is we now have proposal R 2024-268. I'd like to take a moment to explain an overview of the process that we will conduct today. This process was continued from last week's council meeting. We will begin with a second set of interviews of the candidates. The council will call on the candidates in the order transmitted to us as follows: Kimber Starr, number 1, Brian Yambi, number 2, and number 3 is Jeremy Williams. We will ask the same 3 questions of each candidate with a 3-minute time limit per question. We will interview each candidate separately and ask the other 2 who are not being interviewed to wait in the office lobby until they are called. Once all 3 interviews are concluded, the candidates are welcome to rejoin the chamber. Following the interviews, there will be an opportunity for public comment and will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. If you commented last time, there is really no need to comment again. You are on the record. But if you do wish to make comment, that's up to you. Following the public comment, the council will go into executive session to discuss qualifications of the candidates. Upon our return to the open session, we will proceed with action on resolution R 2024-268. Do I have everything covered, Ms. Long?
Process sounds
Okay.
good. Yeah, I think you got it.
Okay. So if there is no questions from any of the council members, I will call our first candidate, Kimber Starr, to the podium and ask the other 2 candidates to wait in the lobby. Okay, I will ask the first question. I appreciate you coming back and answering some more questions.
Thank you.
So the first question that I have is, what is your employment history? And can you share 1 or 2 specific job-related experiences that make you a better leader for your the constituents of District 5? And you don't have to go back to when you were 8. It's shrink it up as an
But
adult.
we may be here a while if I go back through the last 10 years. So I was legislative aide for Senator Conway. I did consulting and was a realtor for 7 years. Sold a lot of the condos down at Point Reston. I tend to get in trouble because I called it, we put the fun in a Superfund site. My clients loved it. My managing broker did not. I also started a community land trust called Tahoma Community Land Trust. I did that for about 2 years. And I did some more consulting with political organizing and also with managing nonprofits. And then most recently, I was Director of Outreach for Congresswoman Strickland. And now my current role is it's a big title. The state really loves their big titles. I am the manager of the Governor's Subcabinet on Business Diversity and Tribal Relations for the Office of Minority and Women's Business Enterprises. It doesn't all fit on a card, so they gave me a QR code. I think I learned so much working in Senator Conway's office and so much working in Congresswoman Strickland's office. And now with the state agency, how all of the different government systems work together. The intergovernmental, how you get federal grants from one place and then that's dispersed through, something like TCRA, Tacoma Redevelopment Authority Board, and how that's dispersed out into the community to other nonprofits to build affordable housing. But how everything is intertwined and works together. That is one of the biggest things that I started with Senator Conway's office, learned more in Strickland's office, and now with the state agency.
Thank you. Councilmember Herrera.
Thanks for coming back. I know it's probably been a long week, but so I have a question for you. So tribal relations are a priority of this council, one of them. We have many, but that's one of them. And most of the lands of the Puyallup tribe are in District 5. Please, can you share how you will have and will continue to foster relationships with the Puyallup tribe and other tribal nations that call Pierce County home?
So while I was in Congresswoman Strickland's office, thank you for that question. While I was in Congresswoman Strickland's office, I did handle First Nation relations for her office for 4 different tribes across the 10th Congressional District: Puyallup, Nisqually, Squaxin, and Chehalis. And I had previous experience working directly with tribal council members of the Puyallup tribe on the Tahoma Community Land Trust. I worked directly with Tim Raynon and developed a really strong relationship with him, working through developing the Community Land Trust, affordable housing for the area, and continued that relationship as he moved on to other jobs like with tribal relations with the city of Seattle, and now with the Governor's Office of Indian Affairs, which, as a tribal relations person with for a state agency, that's really exciting to have a Puyallup tribal member, former tribal council, to be the leader of the Governor's Office of Indian Affairs. It's a lot of conversations. It's a lot of working around certain projects. But to keep the conversation going consistently is how I've always done tribal relations, and that is how I would interact with throughout Indian country. I do have good relationships across the 29 tribes in Washington state, as well as tribes outside of this state, including my own, which is Cherokee Nation. So that's how I would go about that. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, the next question will be from Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your patience. I am asking, how would you balance the need for critical public investments with maintaining fiscal responsibility and avoiding unnecessary tax burdens on residents?
Thank you. That is a tough one. And we are staring down a budget hole. And so that is precarious in that there are things that District 5 needs, there's things that across Pierce County that we need. And so to balance that, I would look for more efficiencies first within the budget. Where can we save money? Where can we do things more efficiently? I would, of course, lobby for additional funding from the state, federal government, any way that we could get more in the door. I think with the way that the economy is right now, that increasing revenue would be something that would be really hard to ask people to do. But that's all in finding that balance and keeping those conversations, keeping the conversations open with the entire council for how we fix that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Starr. I appreciate that. And Mr. Taylor, next, Brian Yambi.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome, Mr. Yambi.
Mr. Chair.
Appreciate you coming back for another round.
Appreciate it.
I'll start with the first question. What is your employment history? And can you share one or two specific job-related experiences that make you a better leader for the constituents of District 5?
Mr. Chair, I appreciate that question very much. So I have an unconventional resume and background, which has helped me very much on the 5 City Council. When I was in my younger years, I worked a couple years in retail, customer service, then got into organizing work, doing campaigns and helping get really good, talented people elected. So I'll start from the most recent. So this is my 11th year on the 5 City Council. Currently, I'm also a co-executive director of a nonprofit, which is dedicated to getting the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander community mobilized to participate in government and elections and empower people civically. Before that, I was doing a stint as outreach for a nonprofit who was also doing health equity work in the ANHPI community. And before that, done 5 political campaigns from city council, school board, several state legislature, and 1 state senate. And so that's been a big bulk of my background and experience in the last several years. And what experiences stand out? I think, number one, the perspective that you get when you work with candidates from Spokane to Yakima to Pierce County to all around the state of Washington, and you realize that the perspective that you get doorbelling in areas where you're unfamiliar and getting to know the issues on the ground that people across the state are facing, and oftentimes they're very similar and just our approaches to them are slightly different. But I think that those perspectives are invaluable, especially listening to people who oftentimes don't get to talk to somebody from political campaigns or government. And oftentimes there's some either frustrations or there's some disconnects between those who serve them and those populations. So being that person to be able to interface with them and help them find opportunities is helpful. And teaching and giving trainings to how to lobby and how to advocate on issues in local government and state government for the other work stands out, because nothing feels better than empowering community and people to understand how to navigate the system and then communicate in ways that are effective rather than just screaming and yelling or getting frustrated. So helping people navigate a very strange system to people is what I'm proud of.
Okay, good job. Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for coming again. I know it's probably been a long week, but got a question for you about tribal relations, because it's important to this council to have a good relationship with the tribes, and in particular, District 5 lies within the whole Puyallup tribal nation. If you could please share how you have and will continue to foster relationships with the Puyallup tribe and other tribal nations that call Pierce County home.
I think that thank you, Councilmember, for that question. I think previous speakers demonstrated that the long history that I have working with the Puyallup tribe in particular. I think what it comes down to it is being in a community like Japanese Americans who during World War II and early on in our history did not have access to land rights and alien land laws that prevented ownership. Puyallup tribal members and other tribal members historically did help some of those communities and individuals have access to that. And so there's a history that I acknowledge that is very important to me when I start interfacing with communities, especially tribal. That history is very important because we all have long memories. We all remember things like that. So to me, it's about relationship building, as former Councilmember Bean said, and former Chair Bean said, that it's sitting down, it's meeting with them, it's coming to participate in community events, tribal events, understanding the history and the community, and really immersing yourself in understanding how our concepts of time sometimes differ, and that is extremely helpful in navigating from non-tribal government with tribal government. Being in the city of Fife, we're located solely on the tribal reservation, and sometimes our historical relationships have butted heads against one another. And so for me, it was very important to go in and build that relationship where it was not as strong. And so really dedicating the time and the energy to do that, and then bringing in colleagues and then sharing in that, and then saying, hey, these are important. And thankfully at the state of Washington, they have some, trainings for working with tribal governments now that weren't always accessible when I first started. And so I didn't need to reinvent the wheel. But some of those things are very important perspectives. And I think that the experience that I've had in the last 10 years is invaluable, because, you realize that it's operating with a sovereign nation, but at the same time, the interests of my government sometimes conflict with theirs. But finding a way that, we do not let those hold up the relationship. We do not let those get in the way of, understanding and trying to be as supportive as we can on the issues that we do agree on. And so that's very important to me, and I appreciate the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
The last question is Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your patience here. I am asking, how would you balance the need for critical public investments with maintaining fiscal responsibility and avoiding unnecessary tax burdens on residents?
Councilmember, would you repeat that one more time? Thank you.
How would you balance the need for critical public investments with maintaining fiscal responsibility and avoiding unnecessary tax burdens for residents?
Thank you for that question, Councilmember Krueger. So I think the city of Fife experience is slightly different because it's a different scale, and I totally acknowledge that. And but I think the basics of government are always the same. When I first got in, I said, you know what? Quality of life and social services and preventative measures are the first place that will always not get impacts as long as I'm on there. Then I run into the reality of how the budgets work, and so I pushed with council to switch to a biennial budget so that we could better kind of account for the different changes from year to year. In the time that I've been on council, we've also increased our credit rating to AA in Moody's. So it shows that we've been able to balance a lot of these different interests, especially coming out of the first pandemic, not pandemic, coming out of the recession, and trying to effectively remember that at the end of the day, people only have so much money. And to me, there were instances where I voted in the minority against some of these increases because I felt that, yes, that it needed to be done. Yes, that, in some part we need to think holistically about the system and everyone paying their fair share. But I thought that the burdens at the time were a little bit too much for individuals. So, keeping that in mind, I think I do, the budget, keeping it balanced is the most important thing. And then trying to, make things more efficient is another. And then really, we don't want people at a sensitive time, especially as we're coming out of the pandemic and we're starting to see some of the investments pay off from, the country, that we're a little bit more stable. And this is not the time necessarily to throw more unfair burdens on people because, there's only so much there. And so I think that as I look at the budgets now, yes, that there's the North Star of what we need to do, but then getting there has to be slow, deliberate, and intentional. And, I just don't want to overwhelm the individual because, we're paying increase across the board and everything. So just being mindful of that when I make and pass legislation.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those answers. And we'll ask for the third candidate to come in.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Appreciate you coming back.
Absolutely.
I'll start with the first question. There'll be a total of 3.
Okay.
What's your employment history, and can you share 1 or 2 specific job-related experiences that make you a better leader for the constituents of District 5?
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, my employment, I don't have that long of a resume, actually. My first job I got as a vendor for Home Depot, traveling from store to store. I've been to every Home Depot in Washington State, from Bellingham and all the way down to Beaverton, Oregon, multiple times. Stayed in hotels, working overnight for them, changing out product, being a part of a team. From there, I've volunteered. Well, it's more of not volunteer. I worked conventions, the Penny Arcade Expo in Seattle that's held every year. I've been there 5-10 times. Working for the venue and being part of a huge workforce of 900 people making that convention possible, working in teams, managing large crowds, and making sure everybody has a fantastic show. After that, I've also worked as a subcontractor for Microsoft for 2 years. I was there from about 2013 to 2016, and at that time I was there as part of the Xbox One launch, and we did hardware testing prior to the product's announcement to the public. And after that, I moved into certification testing, where I worked as a tester as part of a team, and then as a test lead, working to lead 5-person teams where we had to turn over certification of a software game or application in an 8-hour turnaround and complete our report and have that emailed off and finalized for our management, and so they could send it to Microsoft. And did that for 2 years, and then, Microsoft, what I heard, I don't know if this is what I was told, is that Microsoft was paying $40 a head, and then the subcontractor, HCL Technologies, took a third, and then the headhunter, who was our hiring agency, took a third, and they paid us $10 as a tester and then $12.75 as a test lead, commuting from Tacoma to Redmond. I did that for 2 years. And after that, I was like, maybe I should just get into the trades. And was a IBEW Inside Wireman 01 apprentice from 2016 until 2019, when I was selected for the Longshore Lottery. And my card was sequenced, and I went through the orientation for that in 2019. I got my dispatch privileges the end of 2019, and about, I think it was November or December of 2019. And at that point, what did they call it? They called it, the IBEW was not happy I was getting the second job, and they terminated my apprentice agreement because I was seeking a second job. And so then I had to get a job, and my wife was pregnant, and I went and got a job working at what was it? It was in Tukwila. It was in a warehouse job, $16 an hour, moving forklifts, stuff like that. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for watching the time.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the second question. Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks for coming back. I know it's been a long week. So my question is on tribal relations, and it's one of the priorities on this council. It's really important. And most of the lands of the Puyallup Tribe are within District 5. So please share how you have and will continue to foster relationships with the Puyallup Tribe and any other tribal nation that call Pierce County home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think sovereign land should be respected, and the federal government should honor its treaties, which it has a long history of not doing. And I would expect any person on Pierce County Council to honor any treaties that are existing. I don't have any personal experience interacting with the tribe, other than my time as an electrician working on the Emerald Queen Casino for about 6 months. Outside of that, I worked with tribal labor that helped us because we were contractually obligated through some mechanism where some portion of our labor was supplied by the tribe. And outside of that interaction, which I enjoyed and I thought was great, I don't have any official dealings with the tribe, but I would be very anxious to see further integration and improvement in their conditions.
Thank you, Chair.
The third and last question, Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your patience here. I would like to ask, how would you balance the need for critical public investments with maintaining fiscal responsibility and avoiding unnecessary tax burdens on residents?
Yeah, absolutely. I think property taxes and of that nature on individual residences are something that you have to keep a very close eye on and make sure that you're not increasing those too much on those who are part of the working class and stuff like that. But we have a lot of large corporations like Boeing, Starbucks, Microsoft, that all operate in Pierce County and Washington State more broadly and have headquarters here, including UPS, and like down in Fife. Lots of warehouses down there, and I'm not familiar with their tax schemes, but I know that we have deficit problems here, and I obviously not, because you guys can't operate on a deficit, but you guys have fiscal constraints, to say it, and you've got to find that revenue somewhere. And I don't think that people making $20 an hour have the revenue you're looking for.
Thank you for those answers. I think we're done right now. So you can bring everybody in. You can grab a seat, Jeremy. Thank you. Nice, thank you. Okay, we will move to the public comment section. If anyone wants to make public comment, approach the podium, give us your name. You'll have 3 minutes per speaker. Again, if you've commented before, you're on the record. Really no need to come again unless you want to drive home a certain point. That's fine. So there again, following public comment, we will be having an executive session. So at this time, I will open it up to anyone in the room who wants to make a public comment. Yep, approach the podium and give us your name, and you have up to 3 minutes.
Hello, thank you, Chairman, thank you, council members. My name is Brandon, and I am a business owner as well as a community organizer and a community advocate. I'm here to express my strong support for Kimber Starr as the next representative for Pierce County Council, District 5. Kimber is exceptionally qualified for leadership, who brings a wealth of experience, a deep connection to our community, and an unwavering commitment to advocating for and support for the resources that District 5 deserves. As someone who understands the challenges and opportunities in this district, as well as many others through the work that I do in the community, I know that Kimber is well prepared to represent these needs of its residents. Her proven track record of leadership and her dedication to the community, communities driven and solutions make her the ideal candidate to serve this role. Kimber has what it takes to lead with integrity, collaborate effectively, and ensure the voices of District 5 are not only heard, but acted upon. I have no doubt that she will bring the passion, expertise, and vision needed to make this meaningful impact for all of us. Thank you for your time, consideration, and I urge you to appoint Kimber Starr to this critical position for Pierce County Council. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers that wants to make comment? Come on up, approach the podium, state your name. You'll have 3 minutes and address the chair.
Good afternoon, Chair. I actually did speak via Zoom last time, but there were some points that were brought up this time. I'm here in support of Kimber Starr. You asked the questions, and they were great, especially Mr. Herrera and your tribal relations. That's very important to our area. I'm a woman, I'm a laborer, I'm in construction, so I understand the need for good relations in that. I'm a citified Indian, shall we say. I was not a reservation native, okay? So there's quite a bit of difference, but I do have family on both sides of that fence. Kimber has the best position for this in relationship with tribal. You just don't go in uninvited with tribal. There is a certain grace that you need to show with tribes, and Kimber just embraces everything that you would need to go into a tribe with respect to their value. So I would hope that you would take that in consideration. She's also such a huge advocate for labor, and as a Native American female in the construction business, I need someone like Kimber Starr on this board. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room that wants to make a comment? Okay, not seeing anyone else in the chamber that wants to make a comment. We will move to Zoom. And we'll see if there's anybody out there.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Weinsbury?
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comments on proposal number R2024-268, press the raise hand icon on Zoom or star 9 on your telephone keypad. And Mr. Chair, it looks like we have one hand at this time. Clover Creek, please state your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
I'm sorry, my phone's ringing at the same time, and I'm not sure why it came up as Clover Creek. This is Marianne Lincoln, I actually live in the 3rd County Council District, but I am a friend of Kimber Starr. Beyond that, Brian Yamby gets more experience with Parkland Spanaway area, something I think is missing. But overall, my comment really is I'd like to see you get organized as a full county council and not put this decision off another week. Forward to you making it today. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments.
And at this time, we have no other hands, Mr. Chair.
Okay, at this time, we will close public comment to this portion addressing Resolution R 2024-268. At this time, we will be moving into executive session to discuss the qualifications of the candidate. So, Ms. Long, could you brief?
Yes, thank you. So this will be an executive session authorized by RCW 4230-110-1H. The purpose this evening is to evaluate the qualifications of candidates for appointment to an elective office. The statute provides that, however, any interview of the candidates and final action appointing a candidate to elective office shall be in a meeting open to the public. And so, Mr. Chair, before you go into executive session, if you will state the time at which you will return.
Okay, I will say 20 minutes. Do I hear 30 minutes? Do I hear, we'll go with 20 minutes. So we will meet back here at 4:45?
4:45?
Yeah. Yep, we'll meet back here at 4:45. So, thank you. Adjourned. Okay, we are back from executive session. No action taken, just discussing the qualifications of the candidates. So we have before us proposal number R 2024-268. Does any council member like to make a motion? Council member Denson.
Thank you, Chair. I move that we adopt Resolution 2024-268.
Second. It has been read.
I think we move it first and then, okay. So now I would like to make an amendment
Okay.
after you read it into the record.
Okay, we now have a motion on the floor to discuss Resolution 2024-268. Will the clerk please read it in the record?
Proposal number R 2024-268, a resolution of the Pierce County Council appointing blank as Pierce County Council member representing Council District number 5.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any discussion? And would anyone like to follow up on the proposal by adopting and adding a name through an oral amendment to the motion? Councilmember Denson.
Thank you, Chair. First, I want to thank the PCOs representing the communities of District 5. I believe they had 7 or 8 applicants for this position, really showing a lot of community interest. I didn't know who all of them were, but I met with some of them, and there was a lot of really, really impressive people. And I want to thank everyone who put in their name, and hopefully they look to other involvement, whether it's with community organizations or some of our boards and commissions, or an elected position within their community in the future. It's not easy putting your name out there. I want to thank the PCOs for their hard work vetting all of those candidates. I know they had multiple meetings and lots of long discussions, and for their work vetting all of those folks and choosing their top 3. And I imagine out of that rigorous process, they've come up with, the 3 individuals that we've had the pleasure of hearing from over the last 2 weeks. And I think all 3 would be choices that they would be happy with, and thus choices ideally that the community is going to be happy with, that they represent. The PCOs, have done their job, and now it's time for us to do ours. There were some outstanding questions from last week, so we did take an extra week, and that's just fine, because this is an important position. This position is representing over 130,000 people. That's about what each of our districts have. So it's good that we take our time and listen to all of the public comment and all of the stakeholders, and there's lots of things that we have to consider. I again want to thank all 3 of the applicants. You're all very unique perspectives and experience, and again, I think I would be very happy to work with all 3 of you. With that, I would like to make an amendment, though. So I move that we insert the name Brian Nyambe into the blanks in the title in section 1 and 2.
Second.
Okay, it is properly moved and seconded that Brian Nyambe be inserted into the blanks in the title, section 1 and section 2. I will start with a voice vote, and then if there is a split, I'll move to a roll call vote. So all those in favor of inserting the name Brian Nyambe into section 1 and Section 2 of the Resolution 2024-268. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Split vote. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Herrera.
Nay.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayala.
Aye.
Councilmember Coover.
Nay.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Nay.
The result of the roll call vote is 3 ayes and 3 nays.
Okay, the oral amendment fails. Is there any further oral amendments?
I have another oral amendment. Thank you, Chair. I move that we insert the name Kimber Starr into the blanks in title section, into the title in sections 1 and 2.
Second.
Okay, it is properly moved and seconded that we insert the name of Kimber Starr into Section 1 and Section 2. And is there any discussion? Not seeing any, I will start with a voice vote, and then we will proceed to a roll call vote. With that, everyone in favor of the oral amendment of inserting Kimber Starr, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Nay.
Nay.
Split decision. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Nay.
Councilmember Ayala.
Aye.
Councilmember Coover.
Nay.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Nay.
The result of the roll call vote is 3 ayes and 3 nays.
Motion fails. The oral amendment fails. Is there any further oral amendments?
I have another oral amendment. I move that we insert the name Jeremy Williams into the blanks in the title in section 1 and 2.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we accept the oral amendment of Jeremy Williams into the Section 1 and Section 2 of Resolution 2024-268. I will start with a voice vote and move to a roll call vote. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, say nay.
Nay.
Nay. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Ayala.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Coover.
Nay.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Nay.
Councilmember Morrell.
Nay.
The result of the roll call vote is 3 ayes and 3 nays.
Okay. There is no further candidates on the list, so does anyone like to make a motion, or does any of the council members want to make comment?
I would like to make some comments.
Okay. Councilmember Denson.
Thank you, Chair. This is really disappointing. We gave the PCOs a job to do. They gave us 3 great candidates. I made motions on every single one of them. So I would love to hear a motion from one of the people that voted nay on all 3, who they would like. We have 3 people to choose from. I think I'm agreeable to all of them. I think they all bring really different skills. That is our duty. The PCOs had a duty. This is the process. We had a duty. We gave folks an entire additional week to work on this. And the fact that there is not a decision is, to me, unacceptable. And this is the main reason. Not only is this holding up the work of the council and us being able to get on with our business for the people of Pierce County, but I feel particularly bad for the people in District 5 who have no county representation. They've been out without county representation for 2 weeks now. I'm happy with the PCO's choices. Any of these 3 people I am happy to work with because they are going to represent the people of Pierce County. I don't know about the rest of you, but I do a ton of constituent work in my office, and there's 130+ thousand people who do not have somebody looking out for their interests at the county. Nobody to do constituent work, nobody to call planning and public works when things are held up, nobody to check on HOA regulations, or for them to call if they're not getting responses because there's a pothole, or, I mean, any number of issues. And I know you all work hard for your constituents, and the people of District 5 deserve to have representation as well. We had 3 choices. I'm okay with any of the 3. We heard Councilmember Hitchin, Councilmember Ayala, okay with any of the 3. We respect the PCO's voices. I guess I'm belaboring the point now. This is ridiculous. So would one of you that didn't make a decision like to make a motion? Because I'll vote with you tonight to get this done and give the people of District 5 a voice.
Okay. Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your comments, Councilmember Denson, and thank you first and foremost to the 3 candidates that have been sitting and working and calling and talking. I know you've been working very hard to answer our questions, both in public and when we've been reaching out privately. So I just want to acknowledge the work that you've gone through. This isn't a game. This is the work that we were elected to do. We sometimes have to make hard decisions. We need to weigh the pros and cons, and we understand the work before us is to appoint someone to this council. We could secede that work to the governor. That puts us 60 to 90 days, depending on how quickly the governor decides this position. But we were given this job by the people that elected us to represent our districts to speak on behalf of Pierce County, not our governor. And I would really like to be able to move forward. I would really like to have somebody appointed. There's a process and an onboarding and a learning curve for this person. And the longer we delay this, the further behind they will be and the harder it will be for them to work effectively. And what Councilmember Denson said about the 130,000 people that are sitting in District 5, that when they leave their message, maybe we've figured out the voicemail and it's getting dealt with, but we don't have anyone to speak on their behalf, to work with the city governments that are within District 5. We don't have somebody to vote on leadership and on boards and commissions. We are leaving a gap in our 7-person body by making this decision to not act, which is what we were elected to do. So very frustrated. That is how we are starting 2025, and I will leave it at that. And with the same ask, who should we appoint? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those comments. Councilmember Ayala.
Thank you, Chair. As the newest member of this body, I do have to express my frustration on tonight's decision. I do believe it is grossly irresponsible what took place this evening, and we do have a duty to the public, to those that elected us, but also those that may elect whoever will represent District 5. I want to apologize to the candidates that took time out of their day, that have been taking time out of their week, and all the work that you put in before this. Apologies for us not having a decision for you. And I also urge that our public members speak their mind in future meetings. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those comments. Is there any other further comments? Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Chair. It's a difficult time on this, and there is a process that is a very important process so that we can make the right decision on this. This is a very difficult decision. I've got emails for all of the candidates, and there are many different dynamics on this. And yes, we have about 135,000 per district. And I recall, I believe there have been times where members have been out and there has been someone there who will take up the slack to help the members in the district. We're not without ability here to address any of the issues District 5 might have. They have been well taken care of in the past, and they will continue to be well taken care of. This county's not on fire, and it is imperative that we make the right decision. And so having the time that we need to further investigate, to do this, I think is important in doing our due diligence, and I find that to be responsible. Thank you, Chair.
Are there any other comments? Not seeing any. I will speak to the resolution as it's been presented. Division among the ranks isn't unusual on a choice as big as this one. I would say it's not if, it's when it happens. I think there again, as I have indicated, every appointment that's come before this council, I have taken a certain tact on it. I need enough information that I need to understand if I deviate off that, it's the right choice to make for District 5 and for this body. This body has worked very well together in the 6 years that I've been here under multiple leaderships. Those multiple leaderships have always been able to deal, to adjust, to understand, to compromise, and that is where I'm at right now. Is, as Councilmember Krueger said, there is nothing on fire in this county right now. There is nothing that can't wait a couple of weeks. And yes, we would like to fill the box so we can get someone onboarded, but I think there again, the choices that we have before us, it would take no time to onboard those individuals. So with that, District 5 deserves the best choice that we can make. They deserve to have the time to make that responsible, respectful decision. And yeah, we have a split council on this. I don't think that we're beyond the ability to make a choice to allow it to go to the governor. But there again, we'll see how things proceed. So with that, that is my explanation on why I am not making a decision tonight. I respect those individuals who have come here and invested their time. This is a very important role in Pierce County government that I just am not going to hand it out without proper investigation and background information. I now have the responses to 3 more questions that I will dive into, and at some point along this journey, I'm willing to make a decision. It just is not going to be tonight. So with that being said, Ms. Long, tell us what our options are.
So at this point, you do have a resolution on the table for consideration, of course, with blanks in it. You may continue to a date certain, postpone indefinitely, vote it down. Those are really your options at this point to dispose of
Okay.
it.
Then I will entertain a motion. If not, Councilmember Denson.
I just had a question for Ms. Long. Ms. Long, are we certain that we have to wait the full 60 days before sending it to the governor? We can't just send it to the governor now since apparently we can't make a decision?
Yes, the Constitution provides that if you don't make, if you aren't able to decide within 60 days, at that point, it goes to the governor. So it is still in your hands until February 28th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the options we have right now, there is a motion on the floor. And do we have to vote on the motion on the floor, or can another motion come forward?
Well, you can make a motion to continue to a date certain or postpone indefinitely at this time, or vote on the proposal. The motion is to adopt the proposal with blanks in it, so it's if you want to bring it, pick a date that you want to consider it again, that's probably reasonable.
What does this body want to do? We do
I
have.
don't want to continue it. I want to make a decision. So I'm a no when that motion is made to continue it.
Okay. I guess if it would help, I'm more than willing to, and I think it would be proper if we had another executive session on the issue. Can we call an executive
You
session? at
can
any
definitely
time?
call an executive session under the same section of the state law to consider the qualifications of candidates for elective office. Yes, you may. And again, if you decide to do so, then state the time at which you will return so the public is aware.
Okay. Then I will call for an executive session for 10 minutes. So we will return at 5:18. Thank you. Executive session, another 15 minutes. Oh.
You ready? Go ahead.
Right. Okay, we will be extending executive session another 15 minutes, so 5:25, or excuse me, 5:35. We are back from executive session. There again, no action taken. Discussion about candidate qualifications. So at this point, I will entertain a motion from the prevailing party. Councilmember Krueger for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to reconsider proposal R 2024-268 as discussed before and insert the name Brian Yamby.
Okay, it is moved and seconded. The motion on the floor is to consider it. That is the motion. Ms. Long?
So just for clarification, so the motion is to reconsider the motion that was made earlier to insert the name Brian Yamby into the blanks. So your first vote on this would be a voice vote on the reconsideration, so it's not final at this point.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we'll make another motion.
Yes.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to reconsider Resolution 2024-268 with the insertion of Brian Yamby into Section 1 and Section 2. So we will take a voice vote on the reconsideration. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. I will now entertain another motion.
Chair, thank you. I would like to move proposal R 2024-268 for approval.
So right now you have the resolution before you. You have a motion to reconsider the motion inserting the name. So now the motion before you is to insert the name. This is a three-step process. You've got the reconsideration. Now you're moving the motion to insert Brian Yamby's name into the blanks. That can be a voice vote. Following that, you will have the resolution before you as amended, and that will be a roll call vote at that point.
What I'm understanding, I need to move proposal R 2024-268 as amended with the name Brian Yamby in two locations.
The title and the two, Section 1 and Section 2.
Title in Section 1 and Section 2.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we amend the resolution R 2024-268 with including the name Brian Yamby in Section 1 and Section 2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We have a final resolution.
Yes.
Okay.
As amended. So the motion's already made. So you have it before you. If there's any council discussion, you can have that at this time.
Anyone can make a motion right now.
Otherwise, you just simply call on the chair, the clerk to take a roll call vote on the resolution as amended.
Correct. Okay, Councilman McCruver.
I don't need to speak. Pardon?
Yeah, you don't need
I don't
another
need to
motion
speak.
at this time.
Okay. Are there any comments on the resolution that's on the floor to insert the name amended resolution on the floor, inserting the name of Brian Yamby into Section 1 and Section 2? No, not. Councilmember Herrera. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Speaking to this process, appreciate working with my colleagues. Appreciate all the candidates today. It was definitely not a game. I don't think anybody here on this dais thought this is a game. It's a very serious thing. District 5 is very special, just like all the districts. We wanted to make sure we got this right. I'm glad that this council took some pause today, went in a couple executive sessions and talked it out. Like, 500 years ago, people would be warring over this, like physical warring over leadership and things like that. And that's why we have Robert's rules and things like that. So we can take pause and move forward and talk civilly with each other and move forward with this. So I appreciate the process. I appreciate the people who put their names in it. And I appreciate everybody who has stuck their neck out today to be here. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you for those comments. Are there any further comments before we ask the clerk for a roll call vote? Not seeing any. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayala.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
The results of the roll call vote is 6 ayes and 0 nays.
By a motion of 6-0, the motion passes. The amended resolution of 2024-268, inserting the name of Brian Yamby into Section 1 and Section 2. Congratulations. You are now the new District 5 representative. Okay. We still have agendas items to deal with. So moving on to other business, we do have some messages from the executive that I need to read into the record. So these were late in coming, but transmittal signed on January 10th, 2025, ordinance number 2024-553S2, an ordinance of the Pierce County Council related to critical areas. Ordinance number 2024-555, an ordinance of Pierce County Council adopting the 2024 Pierce County Behavioral Health Improvement Plan update. And ordinance number 2024-570S, an ordinance of the Pierce County Council related to the Pierce County Shoreline Master Plan. Okay, I've done what I was told to do. So in other business, Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to ask for a recess so we would be able to swear in our new council member and be able to allow them to vote. So I would like to move for a recess, I think is the appropriate thing. Robert's Rules training is soon. Thank you.
Okay, I have no problem with that. So if we want to do that, do I have to state anything?
Yes, you'll have to state the time at which you'll return so members know. I mean, you aren't going anywhere, but just for the public to tune back in at the appropriate time.
6:05? Can we do it?
6:05?
Yeah.
Okay, 6:05. 6:05.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't gaveled yet. Do we need to actually vote that we're on recess, though?
If everybody's in agreement,
Okay,
you're
I
good. You're good.
Okay.
Let the party begin. I mean, come on.
We'll begin in 3 seconds.
Okay. I'd like to call back into regular session. We are now at item 11. Messages, no, we already did that. So we have the election of 2025 officers. Oh. Then I skipped that. Thank you for making me aware of that.
I probably should have done that prior to recess. I didn't process.
Oh, okay.
Community forum.
Yes, there are no ordinances.
Never mind.
There are no ordinances. And so we're at section 10, community forum. Community forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on any topic that is of significance or to or on today's agenda that did not appear on today's agenda. There's a 3-minute limit. Please state your name. If you'd like it on the record, address all comments to the chair. We will start in chamber. Is there anyone in chamber that wants to make a comment? Not seeing any, then we will move to Zoom.
Yes, sir. For any members of the public who wish to provide comment, press the raise hand icon of Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And it looks like we have one hand this time, last name Campbell. Please state your name for the record. You will have 3 minutes.
Hold it. Yeah, I'm going to point of personal privilege.
Go ahead, sir.
Hello, Chair. I hope you'll let me speak. Marty Campbell, resident of the 5th District of Pierce County. I want to congratulate you all on making the decision. Congratulate Mr. Yambe on the appointment to the District 5 seat. And I just want to thank you all for working together and coming to an appointment and getting the people of 5th District represented. And I am happy to provide any assistance as I may. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Any further?
And at this time, we have no other hands, Mr. Chair.
Okay. We will close the Zoom comment section of Community Forum. And now we will move to other business, section 11. Before us is election of the 2025 officers. I am open to any suggestions. I'm still open.
I have my light on. You ignoring me? Probably.
Oh. Councilmember Denson.
Thank you, Chair. Okay. Susan, I can just make a motion. Okay. I move that we elect the following slate of officers for the year 2025. Janie Hitchen for chair, Paul Herrera for vice chair, and Robin Denson for executive pro tem.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we will, the motion is to accept a slate of Councilmember Hitchen as chair, Councilmember Herrera as vice chair, and Councilmember Denson as executive pro tem. So we can just have a voice vote?
Yes.
Okay. Take a voice vote and put the mic on Councilmember Yambe and make sure we hear him. You got to speak into the mic. Okay. We'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of the slate that's been presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. I will now slide the gavel over to Council Chair Hitchen, and she can complete out the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. We do have one other item of business that was pulled from the consent agenda, which is a motion appointing Councilmember Rosie Ayala to the Joint Municipal Action Committee. Councilmember Krueger, you pulled it. I can't see the lights, but did you have?
No, I didn't. I didn't push that.
Okay. I just.
Just for my own information.
Councilmember Morell, thank you. I should have known that signal. I saw it for decades.
Thank you. Can you explain what this committee does?
I'm going to turn to Councilmember Ayala to describe what JMAC does.
Of course. JMAC, the Joint Municipal Action Committee, is a collection of Tacoma-centric governmental agencies. So we have representation from Tacoma Public Schools, Metro Parks, City of Tacoma. The county is represented. I feel like I'm missing others, but it's a body in which we are co-learning from each other's government agency to see what partnerships, alignments, and practices can help guide our own home organization. Some of the successes of the JMAC space revolved around summer team late nights and reducing gun violence for youth. There was also conversation around how do we better work to list out our capital projects and who can support each other, whether that's at the state level, locally, or whatnot. There is no formal decision made in that space, and staff work together based on the conversations and guidance of that area.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Is there an alternate or something that we're also going to have to look at in the future here?
So late last year, we adopted protocols in which the ask is that there are 2 representatives from every body and a alternate named in case those 2 representatives are unable to attend.
Okay, so we'll approach that at a later date. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So I am looking for a motion. I can't see. Can you call on committee or Councilmember Krueger, please? Councilmember Krueger, as soon as your light is on.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask, is this mainly an incorporated centric group, the city of Tacoma and the organizations there versus county? So it's mostly all city stuff. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
So I will ask again for a motion to appoint Councilmember Ayala.
I'll move that Councilmember Ayala be appointed for the JMAC committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded, and that we appoint Councilmember Rosie Ayala to the Joint Municipal Action Committee for 2025 or until a successor is appointed. Written. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Councilmember Wright, you have a meeting on Friday.
Thank you.
Okay. So, thank you all for the work today, and I'm really looking forward to working with you, Councilmember Yambe. We will be calling you tomorrow, get some rest tonight, and thank you to all of our staff that have helped kind of coordinate this work over the last couple of weeks. We have a lot before us. We know we have a budget to develop. We know we have a lot of different things that are going to come up to this dais for us to discuss and decide and figure out, and we now have a full team. So I look forward to moving forward into 2025. And with that, we are adjourned. We are not adjourned. Councilmember Morrell, you can turn your own light on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to not close, but make closing comments pertaining to look forward to a successful year of your leadership and guidance. A lot of collaboration goes into a lot of the policy that is generated out of this council, and I look forward to that collaboration with all my members. So I also want to welcome Councilmember Yambe. Like I said earlier, it was a privilege to serve, and it's not something that we collectively take lightly. And the discussions that we have can be intense at times, but we're always looking to what is the best for Pierce County. So we may not agree philosophically on a lot of things, but I think ultimately, as you will find out, the majority of the work that we do is nonpartisan. We have to do it. So I appreciate there again my colleagues for working through the appointment issue, and I'm glad to share the dais with Councilmember Yambe. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, and I can't see if there are any other lights. So does anyone else have any closing comments? Councilmember, I am going to say that right. I make it more
Thank
complicated.
you, Chair. And I first and foremost want to thank all council members for the work over the last couple of weeks. It's very heavy work, but very important work. And I want to make sure that we take a note of acknowledgement for the work that staff have put into this. Staff have, I mean, there's so much that happens in the background. So big thank you for the time, the work, and keeping us on track legally. And I'll conclude my comments there.
Thank you for those comments. Any further comments? Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honored to serve with you and look forward to your leadership and everybody else here on the dais. And congratulations, Councilmember Yambi. You're going to be part of the team. And, you know, Councilmember Morell talked about how we work together and how we talk to each other and things like that. I commented already on the process of this and how we moved forward and how I appreciate the process. And I just look forward to 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Yambe, is your light on? Is that what I'm seeing blinking?
Okay. So first of all, I want to thank the esteemed members of the County Council for the dedication and perseverance in this process of selecting the next appointed person to District 5 seat. I do want to thank Kimber Starr and Jeremy Williams for putting their names forward. It is proof that our democratic systems work, and it's proof that despite how sometimes we disagree on nuances, that overall that we're trying to do the same thing and trying to make sure that our communities are safer and that our community is a better place for it. And so I thank them for putting their names out. This was not an easy process, especially if you're unfamiliar with it. I do want to take time to appreciate and thank Councilmember Campbell, the Treasurer Assessor-elect, for filling this seat. It's an honor to fill this. I am very aware that there's only been one other person from Fife on this county council, and that was Joe Braves back in the day. And he was a long mayor for the city of Fife, one of our first mayor, and on the county council. And this is not something I take lightly. I look forward to working with you no matter what party that you come from, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or other. I may have a D next to my name, but at the end of the day, I am your county council representative for District 5. And so those issues that you have, I am interested in being able to be a problem solver and be able to address your needs whenever they come up. And so I will always be accessible and work to make sure that I earn this title and the privileges and the of the seat. And so thank you for the confidence that my fellow council members have put in me. And I will work very hard to try to catch up and get up to speed and hit the ground running. So appreciate it. And appreciate the staff for bearing with this process. And look forward to getting to know everyone. And yeah, I'm just very grateful. And also grateful to my mother, who's in the audience, who started out by taking me to meetings as a child because she couldn't afford childcare. And I was the kid in the corner drawing with crayons and listening to the adults. And it always seemed that the things that they were talking about were interesting and that they were important. And so every time I come into this position, I think about how I was that little kid in the corner and I was drawing, and that's how I sparked my interest in local government. And so I appreciate it, and it means a great deal more than I can say. So thank you very much.
Thank you all for your comments, and I too am looking forward to 2025 and what we can get done. We do have a very small reception, and the punch may be a little melty, but you are welcome to join us. For those of you that are here in chambers or need a little sugar before you hit the road, we are adjourned, everybody. Thank you.